So here we are. We got Michael Noland on the panel tonight. Our good friend Michael Noland, who's got the just amazing YouTube show, Michael Noland, The Bottom Line, and he really does a great job covering his topics. And one of the fastest, it's actually the fastest growing show that I'm aware of. When we first started hanging out a little bit and stuff, you were probably in the 600 range for subscribers.
Yeah.
I know,
it sure was.
And in a little over a year, Michael now has 30,000 subscribers. I mean, that's just, to me, that's unprecedented, especially to me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Royce, it has grown quite a bit, and I appreciate that. But, right along, I got to say, brother, your channel supported me right from the get-go, And I'm not up here because of that. Royce.
No,
I'm an honest fan of what you do, and I'm a believer in this channel.
Thank you, Michael.
We got to get you to 1,000 at least.
I know. That's that early milestone, and things seem to start taking off after you break that glass ceiling, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's matter of fact, a big shout out, and I know you're aware of this, Royce.
Okay.
To Matthew Street.
Yeah.
If you're out there, Matthew, I want to thank you very much. He did a bang up shout out on my latest video because it's kind of hard to explain in one sentence, but
no, I know.
It's a rock and roll mystery. The whole video is, and he did an entire response to the video on his channel.
He did a great job, and I subbed him today too.
Everybody should. I mean, first of all, I've been subbed to him almost as long as I've been subbed to you. I found I wasn't even aware he was aware of my channel, because if his name comes up as a subscriber when I do my shout outs, then I recognize it and I will subscribe back. But I was already a subscriber of his. Gotcha. So I got the notification. I always watch his videos just like I watch yours. Lo and behold, he did this big shout out, and I think I got like close to 20 subscribers just off his shout out, from what I can tell by my analytics. So just this afternoon. Just this afternoon. One time, one of my first visits to Rachel's channel, I got 26 subscribers right after the show was over. And that was cool. I've never duplicated that since. By the summer of '68, the Beatles were in a degree of turmoil. Okay, the previous year they had achieved possibly their crowning glory in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Whether you think that's number one or not, it was the biggest seller just the year before. So now everybody was anticipating the follow-up. What are they going to do next? And what they do is they release a 6-song EP, Magical Mystery Tour. Here in America, it was actually the third album away from Sgt. Pepper, because we got the and it became canon, the far superior Magical Mystery Tour album. The one time the States got it right, and so to us here in America, this was quite a road down now, we had traveled a couple of albums. They were still in their psychedelic period, but we were ready for, I think that's why it did so well in the States especially, is we were ready for something new. And boy, no theme, plain white, cover.
Yeah. It was kind of trippy, but they'd also suffered a major failure in the Magical Mystery Tour television film. Was a real flop. Okay, so by '68, the Beatles' world had changed immensely from the early days. Having stopped touring a couple of years earlier in 1966, they were set free to pursue different possibilities, experiment in the recording studios. Okay, here comes David, safe and sound, Texas. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Michael.
How you doing, man? Hey,
you got good sound.
Yeah. I'm really glad you made it, brother.
Thank you.
So anyway, So they were, they'd been set free. They weren't touring anymore. They had time on their hands. They had time to go spend some of the money they made doing some of the things they enjoyed. Okay. So after Sergeant Pepper's had changed the world, the world was, just anticipating what's next. And that's, of course, when the Magical Mystery Tour came out. And anyway, so when recording the album, the group was in the process of launching the multimedia business Apple Corp. Okay, so that was a big thing going on at the same time, while coping with various upheavals, drug busts, changing relationships, substance abuse. There was just so much stuff going on. But the good news was the Beatles were old hands at dealing with these issues, okay, and the pressure of these issues. They turned away from the elaborate excesses of Sgt. Pepper, recording instead a simple collection of 30 songs under an even simpler name, The Beatles. The Escher demos, and I got to be honest with you guys, I had the most fun, and it was quite a surprise because I had bought this some time back, but I have so many Beatles albums, I was kind of thinking more almost like collector thing. There was no panic to open it, and I didn't even realize the Escher demos were in there. I would have opened it when I brought it home. But I had so damn much fun listening to these rough songs. I honest to God, I felt like I was sitting out in my living room on the couch, surrounded by the Beatles on chairs and couches, and they were playing while I was sitting there, and any of the mistakes were mine because I was trying to play along, But I mean, it was just, I don't know how you feel, David. I know you're a huge Beatle aficionado, so I know you've heard those. Did you have fun listening to those?
Oh yeah, I did. But I've got a caveat. I've had a bootleg for 20 years called the Black Album.
Oh, you're kidding me.
It's a 3 LP set that were the outtakes from the White Album. So I've kind of heard those kind of for years. These were cleaned up a bit, which was really kind of nice. But I mean, formulation wise, it really all kind of you start to put the puzzle together a little bit, just like you did with the movie, and Let It Be, similar kind of thing, where you start to put the pieces together. So it's it's a very diverse record in a lot of ways.
I listened to the Escher. I did a video and I called them the Escher sessions in that video, and somebody from Britain said it's actually Isha. So I don't know. But let's just call it Escher for tonight. Let's just be ugly Americans. But I had heard those. Yeah, exactly. But I had heard those, and I've always been a fan of the bungalow sessions. What I was impressed with these demos was how close they were to the final project. As far as
that's right. That's
right. The basic idea of the song. Yeah. Most of the songs pretty much reflect what they would later achieve. I'm an old jammer from way back. I'd go to jam sessions just to play, blues and blues rock kind of stuff. And even if I just was playing rhythm guitar, man, that's, what I did. And so we would record those, somewhere in my archives. I've got recordings of me playing guitar in 1970 somewhere.
Oh, man.
But, the thing is so I always love a more live approach.
I wasn't going to mention this, but I think I will because we're kind of on track there. If you saw the 2 pages of additional people beyond the Beatles that played on this album, it'd probably shock you. I mean, it was everything from Yoko Ono providing backup vocals and clapping, along with some others. But I mean, we had people I've never heard of playing French horns, flugelhorns, trumpet. Eric Clapton laid down some guitar tracks, okay? People, I mean, viola was played by somebody. The backing vocals. I mean, there's like 3 lines of people here doing back. Patty Harrison and John McCartney backing vocals and hand claps. Okay.
Well, Maureen Starkey also.
Okay, Mal Evans, backing vocals, trumpet, and hand claps. Organ, harpsichord, piano, all played by other than George, Paul, John, and Ringo. So anyway, I wasn't going to mention that until we started getting into the whole sampling thing and stuff. And I just thought I'd throw that out there. I mean, there's like 2 pages.
Mellotron was used. That's okay. Mellotron was used in the middle for doing some mandolin kind of samplings.
Okay.
And then Chris Thomas used it for some trombone samples at the end of the song on the outro of that.
Okay.
Right. And evidently there was one version of, what was it? Obla Di Obla Da, where they used that to do the flute. Right. And then later Paul overdubbed him actually playing one of those stupid plastic flutes. Yeah. You know, I was thinking, if I had a magic bullet, and could go back in time and take off off of that album what needed to be taken, still keeping it a double album. No major surgery here, just a facelift. I would take off Revolution number 9 because I want Glass Onion, the third take that's on the anthology where it goes, it's a goal, it's a goal, it's a goal. And I love that damn mono mix. It should have been on the album. And then as soon as that ended, Not Guilty by George Harrison, right after that song.
Okay.
Then you'd have the perfect Beatles album. It'd be my number one album if I could have that one wish. You know?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Michael. There's a lot of people that agree with you.
Not Guilty not being on that album is the biggest damn crime. And George was pushed off at the last minute for that. In a power play.
With so many songs, that sucks.
After he put that much energy into John Lennon's Revolution, John stabbed him in the back, right? Because he's the one that didn't want that song on because he wanted Revolution. And everybody goes, oh, this is the album George got 4 songs. He only got 3. Hey, listen, he got 3 on a single disc on Rubber Soul or Revolver.
Right.
All right. Okay. On this, he should have gotten 6 songs to maintain that same ratio. He was ripped off, and he had the material. Sour Milk Sea. All right. He had the material.
Marcus Thompson, we want to thank you so much for joining us. George Harrison had a history of pulling songs back. I wouldn't be surprised if he did the same with Not Guilty and Sour Milk Sea. I don't subscribe to the idea that John was the reason it was off. How do you guys feel about that statement?
Well, I know that he pulled Sour Milk Sea, so you're right about that. All right. But Not Guilty was set to be on that album hours before they mixed the final thing.
Oh, really?
Right? And George was pushing for it the whole time. And it wasn't just John. You're right about that.
Band. It was the other 3.
Yeah, it was the other 3, but it was mainly Paul and John. And the reason that I mentioned John in particular is George practically co-wrote that collage we know as Revolution number 9. He was there as much as Yoko when they put that thing together. He put his blood, sweat, and tears in it. And I feel by John holding up on that album, what he did was, to me, it was kind of a stab in the back, especially, and he was famous for not showing up on George's songs. There's so many versions of George's songs that John, I wasn't in the studio that day, you know? And John did feel like George would kind of drag him down. He even said he helped out him write a song, one of his best off of the Abbey Road album. I forget which of the 2. He helped out with that, but he did it just to get the kid off his back almost, you know? Yeah. And years later, George, it wasn't just Paul. And George was quite vocal about that.
That's interesting. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Marcus. Appreciate that.
Yep. Good point. Good point.
Really good point.
Keep us on our toes.